So I came across this the other day. I hope that we can get a close-up. List of things I am handling well currently. There's nothing there. I saw this and I thought, wow, that hits just a little bit too close to home. Can any of you relate to that feeling? Like life has taken everything that once made sense, everything that was predictable and comfortable and reliable, and agitated it in a supersized, uberific, behemoth blender full of unpredictability, chaos, and confusion. You picturing this with me? It's a total mess out there. Where now our days and our nights and our weeks and even our months are saturated with that overwhelming sense that so very little is in our control, and that our once solid feeling of security is now no more than an aspirational optimism that we're individually and collectively grasping for in an available vaccine, a fair and unbiased election, a potential cure, or a devout faith that possibly the new Jewish year could be our promise. When will we finally be able to take a breath on the other side of all of this? When will we wake up feeling like we can once again handle what life is throwing our way with some semblance of control and of predictability? When, please God, I ask you, when are we going to be able to not feel so broken in this world and in this community and as human beings? It just feels like everything has fallen apart and that I've fallen apart along with it. When I sat down to write this sermon, I wondered sincerely if I should risk revealing my raw and exhausted emotional state from this bema. I feared that exposing my anxiety and deep sense of loneliness surrounding our world's current unrest might somehow rattle your faith in me as your rabbi, or in Judaism as our religion. But I am struggling. I'm finding it heartbreaking not to be able to spend time with my family and my friends, and to embrace those I love without protective gear and fear of risking infection. I miss filling this sanctuary with music and liturgy and each of your smiling faces emoting connection and spiritual uplift. And I miss touching hands and being in crowded restaurants and feeling that ocean breeze on my unmasked face. Most of all, I miss being able to feel like everything is going to be okay and that normal will happen once again when my alarm clock goes off tomorrow morning. But I know, we all know, normal will forever look and feel differently from anything we have ever experienced before. The truth is, and I know you know this, I am one of you, and you are all a part of us. And we need to figure out together how we're going to get through this stronger and more united than ever. It doesn't even matter what profession we hold or where we live or how we choose to spend our money. This pandemic has affected all of us in the ways in which we interact with one another, find new ways for meaning and fulfillment, and ultimately decide who and what we place as priorities to allow into our inner circle of safety. Everything we do right now, every decision and action we choose to take or to step aside from, especially at this uncertain time, will greatly impact and shape what the next season of our lives will look like. Not just as individuals, but within our family units, social circles, educational and professional settings, even as a congregational family. The choices, prioritizations, and innovations we choose to adopt now will prepare us as we are able to re-enter into a new normal at some point. For many years, I've walked around with one quote folded in my wallet that reads, "All experiences in life are both lessons and blessings." All experiences in life are both lessons and blessings. What if we are being given a divine pause? A pause in this world right now to consider this truth: lessons and blessings. How are we going to internalize and mobilize based on this understanding? Let me ask, which parts of this reality right now can we imagine are the lessons? And conversely, or maybe synonymously, which are our blessings? Judaism allows each one of us the freedom to create our own answers to those questions based on our personal and unique understandings, experiences, and reflections of ourselves. God reminds us throughout our ancient texts that with self-exploration and insight, we have been given autonomy to move throughout our lives open and honest to our desires, our drives, our individual passions. Therefore, our rabbis teach it's both the blessings and the lessons, each acting together in partnership, that truly help us formulate and understand the many different facets of ourselves as human beings. As it is said, God created us complete and whole in the beginning, and we live the rest of our lives trying to return to that place. In other words, as we traverse our path between birth and death, we are constantly relearning and reacquainting ourselves with the soul God initially intended for us to become. A while back, I was listening to a podcast by a man named John Roydell, who writes religious poetry. The following is a conversation between God and me. When it's me, I'm over here. When it's God, I'm over there. Hey, God. Hello. I'm falling apart. Can you put me back together? I would rather not. Why? Why won't you put me back together? Because you are not a puzzle. What about all the pieces of my life that are falling down one by one to the ground? Let them stay there for a while. They fall off for a reason. Take some time and decide if you need any of those pieces back. But you don't understand, God, I'm breaking down. No, you don't understand. You're breaking through. What you are feeling are just growing pains. You are shedding the things and the people in your life that are holding you back. You aren't falling apart. You're falling into place. Relax. Take some deep breaths and allow those things you don't need anymore to fall off of you. Quit holding on to pieces that don't fit you anymore. Let them fall off and let them go. But once I start doing that, what will be left of me? Only the very best pieces of you. I'm scared, God. I'm changing. I keep telling you, you're not changing. You are becoming. Becoming who? Becoming who I created you to be, a person of light and of love, of charity and hope and courage, joy and mercy, grace and compassion. I made you for more than the shallow pieces you have decided to adorn yourself with, that you cling to with such greed and fear. Let those things just fall off you. I love you. Don't change. Don't change a thing. Just become. Become, become, become. Become who I made you to be. I'm going to keep telling you this until you remember it. But God, there falls another piece. Yep, Let it fall, let it be. So I'm not broken? Of course not. But you are breaking, like the dawn. It's a new day. Become. So many of us equate wholeness with perfection, with having it all together, with success. Yet the meaning of wholeness is perhaps just the opposite. Wholeness at its very core implies that there's actually an absence of brokenness, an innate existence of a fractured, fragile, and astoundingly imperfect self. Wholeness is about embracing our messiness as an integral part of life. We are all made of our past experiences, opportunities, and lessons learned. We sometimes think of our past as our biggest liability, but the reality is that the beauty in our chaotic journey is actually overwhelmingly wonderful. Cancer, addiction, chronic pain, anxiety, poor physical fitness, job burnout, and depression. No one I know wants to have experiences like these, but everyone I know has some. Does that mean that we are all somehow diminished and all broken and all incomplete? No. No, it means that we have experienced life and that in those challenges and through those pathways, we've learned lessons to prepare us for what is to come next. Without everything we have gone through, our eyes and our hearts wouldn't be able to discern what to cling to and what pieces to let drop aside. What we have lived through and all we have learned from within those encounters help us to better define who we are and how we are going to move into the future to face whatever comes our way. And as the puzzle poem reminds us, as the collected yet unneeded baggage of our experiences simply fall aside, what is left are the unveiled and authentic parts of ourselves reaching out to connect genuinely within ourselves, others, and with God. I read this the other day and it seemed to put a great deal into perspective for me. Quote, I thought 2020 would be the year I get everything I want. Now I know that 2020 is the year I appreciate everything I have. What if this has been the lesson, this hidden blessing of this chaotic and unsettling time? What if we all needed this cosmic pause to allow the chance to take inventory of ourselves and to assess what parts, what experiences, lessons, and relationships truly serve us and allow us to be our best selves in the end? What if this new year, this day of atonement, or at-one-ment, is actually a holy and sacred breather on our journey through life? Maybe God intentionally fashioned our unexpected cessation of life as we knew it so that we could actually hold a mirror to ourselves and honestly and possibly somewhat difficultly look into our souls and into our intentions and our actions and truly see who is being reflected back at us. Let's ask ourselves these questions. Are you surrounding yourself with people and experiences who celebrate your unique expression of self? Are you living to the fullest potential professionally, personally, emotionally, and spiritually? Are you finding meaning and purpose in how and with whom you engage with in your life? And when you look in the mirror, are you able to clearly see the person who you want reflected into the world around you? Because if you are like me, then I'm sure that many of you still need some time to ensure that your answers to the above questions can speak to your most honest and authentic selves. And with this pandemic sadly far from over, maybe we can all spend a bit more time of this sacred pause, looking at our life and our experiences as opportunities to refocus and reassess what parts of ourselves we want to hold on to, and what it is time to simply let fall to the ground. On this Yom Kippur, the symbolic final appeal to God to save our lives, let us come together even through our anxiety and fear. And as we fill our mouths with the liturgical inventory, asking who by fire and who by water, who by famine and who by thirst, let us not become so complacent and short-sighted in our sacred partnership with God that we live our lives feeling everything is out of our control. God is the true arbiter and does ultimately decide when our time on earth is complete. But while we are here, while we are experiencing all the many lessons and blessings that adorn our everyday lives, let us allow the unneeded pieces of our human puzzle to fall from our midst and to make space for the light to shine through, reflecting and celebrating the people that we are becoming, the people that we want to be, the people that God created in God's own image, this new year and always. Gemar Chatima Tova, may we be written in the book of life. Amen.